Hello everyone. So in this part of the video, I'd like to walk you guys through on how to add borders in Bootstrap. So as you can see right here, borders is one of the utility classes that we will be using. So borders can be added into any container, any div just by saying border as like this. In this case, all you have to do is just need to be adding class followed by, and inside the class you just need to be having borders like this. And of course borders, when you say borders, you should only be having just like a gray border surrounding this particular div right here. When you say border top, you'll be having only at the top right here. And of course everything else is like, when you say border end, it should be only be having right here, and bottom should be only at the bottom, and start should be only on left hand side right here. And those are the ones that are meant for specific part of the div. And let's say if you would like to have like a subtractive like this. Subtractive is basically used to not to have border. For example, border 0 literally means no border, and of course border top 0 means only at the top right here there's no borders, and of course at the end, only at the end right here there's no border. And border bottom dash 0 literally means at the bottom right here there's no 0, and of course same like start 0, which means is there's no border at the start right here. And let's look at colors as well. So as you can see, border color is basically we are just adding colors to borders that we would like to have. For example, in this case, this particular border is having blue color. So as you can see, in order to have a blue color, we're going to be using primary. So in order to add like a border with blue colored border, all you have to do is just need to be adding border followed by border dash primary. And this is the way how you are able to add colors to your border. And of course, since there are also other colors, for example, there's primary, secondary, and all the way up to white. And as you can see, this is the colors that we can actually make use of. And we can also add width for the borders. In this case, of course, maybe starting with border followed by border dash 1 like this, and of course border dash 2, 3, and all the way up to 5. And this way we are able to give more thickness to the particular border that we would like to add. And besides that, we can also give radius, like how curved we would like to have this particular borders to have. For in the first case, we have rounded. Rounded will be having just like this particular corners right here. And of course, when you say rounded top, the both sides at the top right here will be having rounded corners. And rounded end will be only on this right hand side right here. And a border bottom will be only at the bottom right here. And start will be only on the left hand side right here. And bottom circle is basically, rounded circle is basically to make it the entire div or container to make it circle like this. And of course we also happen to have border pill. Pill is basically to have all the sides to be having maximum rounded corners, but it's going to be having a bit more wider width like this. So this makes look like a pill like this. And we can also give sizes to this particular borders. For example, in this case we can say rounded dash 0 literally means nothing. So as you can see, there's no rounded corners right here. And rounded dash 1 literally means is to have the minimum rounded like this, rounded corners. And of course 2 will be a bit more, and 3 will be a bit more than that. And those are things that we would like to look at today. So in this case, let's actually make use of this in actual code. And there you go. Right now we just happen to have a blank HTML code like this. In this case, I just have div, empty div like this, and this particular div will be having a simple text called subscribe. And of course, as you can see here, let's say in this particular div I would like to add some border class. As you can see here, when I add border, you'll be able to find a gray colored border have just been added. So in this case, that's the first part here. As you can see, we can also like change where we would like to have the borders. In this case, let's say if I put border only on the top right here, in this case, all I have to do just need to be adding border dash top. And as you can see here, when I add border dash top, you will only find the border only applies at the top right here, and also applies for the bottom right here. If I change it to bottom, you'll be able to find the border only applies at the bottom right here. And of course same goes to start and end. And you will be able to find the start. As you can see, this is the border right here. And of course when I change it to end, you'll be able to find the border only applies at this particular right hand side right here. So let's actually go to subtract. So subtract basically is to remove border from a particular side. So in this case, of course, we're going to be starting with border just like this, and followed by border dash 0. And just like this, you'll be able to find there's no borders has been applied. And this is because all the 4 sides have been removed. And let's say if I would like to only remove on the top. So in this case, all I have to do is just be adding top right here. And when I add a top right here, you will be able to find only the top part has been removed. And if I say border dash bottom, and you will be able to find only the bottom has been removed. And of course we can also, it also applies for start and end. Okay, that's it. And of course let's go to how to add colors, different colors to your border. All you have to do is just need to be replacing the second border with a particular color. So in this case I like to add primary, and there you go. When I added primary, you will be able to find the color has been changed to blue, and of course it applies for all the other colors. And so in this case we can change the primary to secondary, just like this. Now of course we can change it to other colors. In this case I like to say success, and this turns out to be green. And of course we can also have other colors. In this case I will change it to danger, and there you go. Right now we have changed to red, and those are also other colors you can try. And next thing, besides color, we can also change the width of this particular border. So in this case I like to add, instead of just saying border dash, and in this case we can also change the thickness of this particular borders. So in this case all you have to do just need to be adding another class. In this case I like to say border dash 1. Well, border dash 1 is basically the default width. We can also add it to 2, and of course when you add to 2 you'll be able to find the thickness has just increased slightly. And of course we can just add all the way up to 5 like this. And when you added 5 right here, you can able to find the obvious change right here where the thickness has just increased all the way up to 5. And besides thickness, we can also add border radius. So border radius is basically just to have some corner radius to a particular border. And as you can see here, we can just change this particular thickness right here. In this case, I'm just going to be saying, replacing this with rounded. When I say rounded, you'll be able to find you'll be having some rounded corners on all the 4 sides, and this is basically to have rounded corners on all the 4 sides. And in this case, we can also give rounded corners only on specific side of a particular container. So for a particular div, in this case, I like to give rounded corners only at the top part of this particular div. So in this case, I like to say rounded dash top. So as you can see here, only the top part has been having the rounded corners, and if I say bottom instead, you'll be able to find only the bottom side will be having rounded corners. And if I like to have it only on the side side, in this case like to say start, and when I say start, you will be able to find the rounded corners only applies on our left hand side. And if I change this particular start to end, you'll be able to find it only applies on our left hand side right here. And this is to give rounded corners on all the 4 sides. And we can also have rounded equals to circle, which is meant for making a particular div to become a circle. So let's give it a try what happens when we add circle. And as you can see here, when we add circle, it just becomes like a huge circle right here. But in this case, the reason why it looks like this, because we are using div. Usually we don't use div without actually setting up a specific width and height, and that way we are able to make it look like an actual circle. So let's change this particular div and let's use span instead. So when we use span right here, you're able to find it only surrounds the subscribe text right here. So in this case, all I like to do to reduce the number of text right here. In this case, I like to say SSS, and you're able to find it becomes a circle. So it all depends on the width of the particular div, and by doing that, we're able to make a circle like this. So in this case, we are able to use rounded circle for this particular part. And next thing is that we can also make use of pills. So pills is basically is to give maximum rounded corners on all both sides. So in this case, I like to change the circle to pill, and there you go. You're able to find it looks like an actual pill, like right here. And this basically can be used for buttons. So buttons are the ones that we usually use this particular pill styling effect, and together with the border. And this is how we are able to have rounded corners on all the 4 sides. And we can also give, and let's say if you would like to have like a specific value for how rounded you would like to have. So we can start from all the way, instead of just pill right here, you can just say 0. So 0 literally means nothing. And we can also increase the 0 from 0 to 1. And when we add 1 right here, we're able to find some rounded corners have been applied. And of course, let's say if I add 2 right here, we're able to find that there are more corner radius have been applied. And of course, if I add 3, yeah, as you can see, this is the 3 is the maximum value for having rounded corner. But then you can just change it to pills if you would like to have maximum rounded corners in this case. So for example, if you want to like to have value, 3 is the maximum, by the way. And there you go. Right now you are able to understand some idea and of course get some gist on how to apply border to your particular website using Bootstrap. And those are the things that are actually they've mentioned right there are the ones that and the most commonly used for components like buttons and other components as well. And that's the end of this particular part of the video. Let's catch up on the next one.